Hey guys, this is Lexi with Code Confetti, and today I'm going to show you how to install your Code Confetti Kadence Child Theme. So we have a brand new WordPress install on our website here, and we are in the back end of our WordPress site. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to Appearance and Themes. And it comes with all of these standard WordPress themes. We're not going to use any of these. We're going to click on Add New Theme. And once we're here, we're going to search for themes and we'll type in Kadence. And it's this first one that came up right here. We're going to go ahead and click on Install. And this is completely free. We're not going to select Activate though, so just leave it as is. And then the next thing we're going to do is in our sidebar, we're going to hover over Plugins and we're going to go to Add New Plugin. And in our search plugins bar up here, we're going to type in Kadence Starter Templates. And it's this one right here, the AI powered starter templates by Kadence WP. We're going to click install. And then we're going to activate this. All right, now we're going to head back to Appearance Themes. And this time we're going to click Add New Theme at the top. And this is the point where we're going to upload our child theme that you received in your downloaded files. So again, at the top, we're going to click on Upload Theme, and then let's choose our file and navigate to that download. And it's the zip file. So I'm installing Boheme theme, and so that's my zip file right here. I'm going to open that and then click Install Now. And sorry if you can hear my dog snoring in the background. Okay, so once this theme is installed, we are going to click on Activate right here in the middle. Awesome. Okay, so you might think we're done, but we're not quite done yet. The last step we need to do is now over here under Appearance, you'll notice that we have Kadence and we have Starter Templates. We're going to click on Starter Templates, and then we're going to select our builder. So we're choosing Code Confetti. All right, so the only option that comes up under here is, of course, the theme that we uploaded, Boheme. So I'm going to click on that, and then once we get in here, we're just going to click Finish and Launch, either down here or in the top corner. And this is going to start importing all of the content, and it will override our current website theme settings. So if you already have a theme active on your website, it's not going to delete your content, but it is going to put our new homepage. It's going to install all of the new pages that come with the Boheme theme. So if you already have an existing website, you might end up with some duplicates and you might have to go in and clean things up afterwards. Otherwise, if this is a fresh install, you're going to be totally good and it's going to import all the pages and all the dummy content. So click Start Import. And this will take a minute or two. Your mileage may vary depending on your internet speed. So it's done, and we can click on See My Site. Awesome. And so this is the front end of my WordPress site, and it has all of the content that the Boheme theme has. And then you'll notice we're missing a blog post right here. That's totally normal. When you install a fresh WordPress website, you get the Hello World blog post. Let's just hop over to the back end really quickly. We'll click on Dashboard, and then we can go to Posts. And this Hello World post, we'll just trash that. Awesome. And then we hover over My WordPress and click Visit Site, and that'll take us back to the front end of the website. And this time when we scroll, voila, there's all three of our dummy blog posts, and that blank one is not there messing things up. So that is how you install your Boheme theme. Okay, so now that we've got the theme installed, we're going to do a couple of housekeeping things really quick to start setting up and customizing our site. So something that is WordPress best practice, you don't really need to worry about why. It's not really going to have any effect on anything, but this can just help us avoid some 404 errors that could potentially come up otherwise. In our back end, we're going to hover over Settings, and we're going to go to Permalinks. And you don't actually need to change the permalink structure. You can just scroll down to the bottom and click Save Changes. And then that's all you need to worry about that. All right, so next we're going to look at how to start customizing our website. And we're going to start by adding our website title, tagline, and logo to this site. So we're going to hover over Appearance in the sidebar, and we're going to click on Customize. And this is going to open up the customizer menu, and you're going to want to get sort of familiar with this. There's a lot of settings here, so you can play around with it and go as in depth with it as you want to go, but we're going to cover just the basics right now. So we're going to go into header, and we can change our logo. So if we click on logo, we can remove this image and we can upload a new one. You can also change the size of your logo if you wanted to. And then you also have the option to hover over different screen sizes. So if I want it to be this large on a desktop, then I want it to shrink on a tablet, it's already set up to do that, but you can adjust your logo to be exactly the size you want it to be. I'm going to put this back at 200. Okay, then you're going to want to change your site title, and this is going to be the name of your actual blog or business. So I'll just put Boheme as mine, and then you can add a tagline, and I would recommend it honestly because it can be good for SEO purposes. So I'll just make mine the best blog on the internet. Sorry if you hear some background noise, that's my dog scratching at the door to go out. Then we can hover over site icon, and this is going to be where we add our favicon to the website. So if I click in here, then you can see I can select my site icon, and you can upload your own file. It should be at least 512 by 512 pixels, a square orientation, or you can choose something from your media library. I'm going to choose this one. And then when you're done making these changes, you want to make sure that you press publish at the top of your site, and that way the changes will be saved and it'll reflect on the front end of your website. Okay, so now that we've updated that favicon, we're going to remain in our customizer, and we're just going to go back one, and let's go ahead and talk about colors. So we're going to click into colors and fonts, and then colors at the top right here. Now we have a global color palette set up, so you can basically set up your brand colors one time right here, and then they'll be accessible when you start editing other parts of the website, like certain pages and posts. And also these colors will update everywhere. So right now, everything that's this nice orangey tone, if I wanted to switch this to a different color, and I am going to copy this hex code out of here because once I change this, I won't really be able to undo it. So make sure you have these hex codes, or if you like this color palette, you can just keep it. But let's just say I want to put my pink in here. So I'm just going to find my pink color, whatever that is, and you'll see it updating live right here. So I think I failed to mention this previously, but anything that you're doing in the customizer, it will, this is a live preview over on this side, so it will update things here. So now anything that was that orange color is going to be pink. So I think when I hover, yes, these are going to be pink as I hover. And that background has changed to pink. So that's just a good example for you of how things update globally. And the reason that these did not update to that pink color is because those are actually images. Those are pictures of text that I downloaded out of Canva. So if you wanted to edit those things, you'll have to create some different graphics in Canva. All right, so I'm going to undo this, and I'm just going to paste back in my orange color, but that's how you can set up your color palette, add in your brand colors here, and you also have the option to do 3 different color palettes. So if you needed, for some reason, to have multiples in here, there are 3 available to you. You can also change the site background color, and so just an example of how those global colors are available to you. If I clicked on this and I wanted to change it, you'll see that there's all my little colors right here. So if I wanted to change the whole website to be that tan background color, I could do that. And I do have some white backgrounds set on some of these elements, so that's why it's not updating that whole thing without having the white as well. But anyway, I'm going to leave it on white as the background color for the site, but you feel free to also play around with other settings in here. We do also have the link colors, so I think that it's not really going to show because these are all buttons. I don't know if I have any links like that, but I have the links set to just be that black color like the text is, and then when you hover over them, they would be orange. All right, so we finished editing our colors, and then I just went back one. We were here, I went back, and we're going to talk about our buttons next. So you can also globally update your button styles, and I'll click into buttons, and we'll just scroll down to a button on our page. and you can set your button to have different text colors. So I can make it be orange text, and then when we hover, I could make the text be pink. So it would look like that. Or you can change the background. So I have it as a transparent button color, but you could make the background maybe be this tan color, and then on hover, maybe we want it to be this blue. So there we go. That's how I can customize my button colors. You can also do the border color, the initial border color, the hover border color. You can make the border thicker if you would like to. You can also adjust that at different screen sizes. And then the border radius is how round the corners are. So if you wanted to have a nice round button, just keep going all the way until it turns nice and round like that. You can also adjust the padding. So maybe we bump these up to like 50 on the two sides. And you do not have to do any of this for customizing. These are just options that are available to you if it's something that you wish to do. Otherwise, you might just want to change your colors, or you may not even need to change these colors once you've updated your global color palette in the previous step. All right, and then you'll notice that right here, this button was not affected by those changes. You may not notice because I kind of set it back. But the reason this button is not affected is because I actually overrode the styles when I was editing the actual home page. So when we talk about how to edit the pages, I'll show you how to do that. So if you do want to have a button that's different from your global button style, you are able to customize a button and make it stand out a little bit more, or make it go with a certain background. Like so, we're done editing our buttons, and now we're going to talk about typography. So we're going to click into typography over here, and you can feel free again to leave all of the fonts, the ones that I've set up here, but if you have your own fonts that you want to add, you can do that. This is not going to cover how to add a custom font, but I can point you to a blog post as a resource for that if you wish to add a custom font. But this is going to be a way that you can use any Google font. So all Google fonts that are available are listed in here, so you could choose anything you wanted. Like Emily's Candy, which looks like a nice serif font, and you can see how all of my body copy, my links at the top up here, just globally updated to this font. So that's how you would do it. You can set the weight. You can make it, there's different styles, so there may be regular, bold, there may be italic here. Depending on your font that you're choosing. And then you can also adjust the size of the font. You can even adjust the size at different screen sizes, so desktop, tablet, and mobile. The line height, the letter spacing, you can make it all capitalize all the first letters of each word, all caps, all lowercase. Feel free to play around with the settings right here. I'm going to change mine back to DM Sans. I think that's what I had it set as. Yeah, that looks right. So I'm going to leave my base font alone, but that's just all the body copy font. My button font is set to that as well. For my headings, I'm using a font called Marcellus. This is a free Google font, of course, and that's this one right here. So if you want to change your heading font, feel free to do that. And then you can also go in, so I set the heading font family, and that kind of applies to all of them, but you'll notice as we scroll down here to the H6, which is the smallest heading size, I also set that one separately to DM Serif, or DM Sans, excuse me. So instead of having it set to inherit whatever this setting is, you can choose to have a different font for each heading size if you so wish. You can also set up the font weights and the font sizes here. So play around with those settings if you want to, and then there's some other options in here that you can look at as well. We'll just go back and back again, and now we're going to talk about editing our header. So the header, when I say that, I'm referring to this top navigation up here where your main menu is, your logo, and your links. So we'll click inside of the customizer menu into header, and you'll notice a couple things happen. Of course, we have all the settings in our sidebar here, but we also had this little widget area pop up down here. And this is where you can add more things to your header. So you actually have 3 rows that you could work with here. So I have a top row, and if I hover, I have like 3 columns I can add things into, but there's a limited number of widgets, and these little options are widgets that you can actually add when you're using just the free version of Kadence theme, which is what we're using. But let's just say that maybe I want to add a search bar into this top row. So I can put that in this column up here. Maybe I want to put the background of this top row to be a different color so that it shows up better. So I can click on this little gear icon over here, and then that will open some different styling options for me. So I can make it like a full width. I can change the height of the header to be larger or smaller. And then if I go to the design tab, I can also change the background color of this. So we can let it be this nice blue color or this nice salmon color so that it really stands out. And then I can even go so far as to edit this little search widget. So I can hover over here and you see the pencil icon come up, and I can click there to edit this widget, or you can also click down here and click on the little gear icon. But either way, that brings up some design options for this search widget. So I can make it the default style, or I could set it to be bordered. I can make the border thicker. We can adjust the size of the icon. We can change the colors, all of that stuff. Feel free to play around with these settings if you want to start adding to your header. Otherwise, you don't have to do any of this. And if I don't want it, I can press X, and then that completely goes away. Okay, so let's click on this gear icon for the primary navigation. And when we're in the design tab, you can see that we can change the navigation style. So I already have it set. You do not have to change this unless you want to, but there's the initial color, which is black. When you hover over the links, they're that nice dark blue color. And then when the link is active, it's also set to be that blue color. And that just means like I'm active on that page. So if we just change this to orange for demonstration purposes, and then I head to the About page, you'll see that that is my active page link color is orange. So I'm just going to set it actually to black because I don't want that to happen. I'll show you how to actually edit the menu a different way through the back end of WordPress that I think is easier. But before we do that, let's just talk about the social widget right here. So again, press the gear icon or press on the pencil icon up here, and we can add more social links, or you can remove some of these. Just drop down and you can click remove item. You can change the actual style of the icon. You can even upload custom icons if you know how to create SVG files, or you have Canva or a tool that allows you to do that. You can add custom images here. You can change the site, etc., etc. One thing I wanted to point out while we're in here, because it's not obvious, is that you have to set the social links by clicking right here. So right here, I can set it one time as long as I'm using, one of these in the header and footer. And I can put my Facebook page, my Instagram link, any of these social icons that are available. Just add your link in here, and that way it's your content and your profiles. Okay, so now that we've talked about just editing that header, let's just exit out of the customizer. And again, if you made changes and you want to save them, make sure you press publish. I'm not going to do that because I didn't make any changes I want to save. And then that's going to take us back to the back end of our WordPress website. And we're going to hover over appearance and menus. And this is how we're actually going to change our menu. So we have the main menu here, and we have our home page, we have the about page, services, blog, and then that has two sub items. And then there's the work with me link and the links. So maybe on this website, a good example is the links page is really meant to be used as like a link in profile. So you would take this page URL, which let me just show you really quickly that page on your website. So it's, yourwebsite.com/links. It's kind of like Linktree or one of those third-party people who allow you to put links in your social profile. But anyway, I wouldn't really want this normally on the front end of my website. I just want to take this link and put it elsewhere. So I can just remove that, and then I can save my menu. And when I refresh my website now, you'll see that that went away. So that's how you can edit your menu. All of the pages that are available are over here, and if you want to add one to the website, to the menu, you'll just put it back, and then you can drag and reorder things, or if you want to nest it under something, you can do that. just like that. So if you start creating new pages and stuff on your website, of course, those would become visible over here as well. You can also add a link to a post. You can also add custom links. So if you want to, link off site to something that maybe is not like a social profile, but maybe it's like some landing page you have where you're selling a course or who knows what, but some service you offer, you can go ahead and add your link right here, put your text, my course. I'll just put a hashtag and you can add that to the menu. And then when you drop down, I'm actually going to scroll up here really quick and see this under screen options. Let's check link target. And that way I can put open link in a new tab. And you can also add categories. So we have a couple of categories set up that our blogs go into. So maybe I have my category archive right here. So maybe I'll just select all of these and, not links. Maybe I'll make that an even more of a sub menu right here. And then we'll save those changes and we'll go back to the front end of our website and refresh it. And then now I have those right here. So that's how you can actually edit your menu. But if you want to edit the actual styles, don't forget you will use the appearance customize menu and you'll click over here into header. And that's how you can edit in the design tab the colors that these things actually are. Okay, so we just touched on the header, so let's just quickly go over the footer. In the customizer menu, we can go into footer right here. Same thing happens where this little kind of widget area pops up, but I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom. And it's kind of annoying, but this covers up the whole footer, so sometimes you have to press hide so that you can see everything down here, and then to bring that back up, you click on that little footer builder button right there. But yet again, I have 3 layers of this footer. So if I want to add an additional row to the top of this, I can do that. I do have 2 rows here, but they have the same background color, so you can't really tell. But let's just say we clicked into this bottom row and we head over to the design tab and then we change the background color to black. Now I can see that change there. Also, when I'm in the general tab, right now this is only 1 column, but I could make this have 3 different columns. And then maybe I want to add something right here. And again, these are the little widgets that are available to you. But let's say we want to add social icons yet again in our footer, so we can do that there. One thing that we're going to want to do is probably change the background colors of these. So, I'd click into this gear icon, we'd go to the design tab. We can choose these to just be outlines. We can choose the color to be white and the hover color maybe to be this tan color. So you see what that looks like. It does have the border, which I don't actually want a border. So I think we'll go back to the filled option and then we'll make the background transparent. Oh, I set it to something. Transparent, there we go. Now those are looking better. I'm going to click on this little pencil tool here, and I'm going to content align this in the center and then content vertical align this also in the middle. So now it's aligned perfectly, and then of course I can add more icons, update my links, or remove some of these if I need to do that. So that's how you can start to add different things and edit your footer. We also have what are called just these widgets. So widgets are just little, basically they're blocks of codes, but you can customize them to be whatever you want them to be. So right here in this column in the middle row, I have widget 1, and then here's widget 2, and here's widget 3. And then I think we have up to 6 widget areas available that you can put anything inside of that you want to. So let me just show you how that works. So let's click into widget 1, the gear icon, and we will edit this. So the reason that over here in my customizer menu it looks like it's blank is because all of the text is white. So I do apologize because that's a little bit confusing. But basically what I've done here is I have a heading block a Kadence heading block, custom text block is what it actually is, and I have it set to be an H3. So if I made this an H2, you can see how that got larger because now this title is an H2 instead of an H3. Then I also, underneath that, I'm just kind of blindly clicking here, kind of annoying, but I have this set up. This is just like regular text, so paragraph, and then I have it linked. So, you know, you can add a link here. I have it going to our actual about page. There we go. When I click on it, you can see, and I can edit the link right there, but I have it going to our about page. And then let's see here. If I wanted to maybe change the color of this so that, you know, I could at least see it, I want to click on these 3 dots, and that's going to open the options menu, and I click on show more settings. And now I have all these block settings controls. And this is something that you're going to get really familiar with when I show you how to edit the content on pages and the content in your posts. You will have this block settings menu on the pages and posts. But we're going to get a little familiar with it right now. And I'm going to change the color of this to be pink. Oh, you know what? I think it's because it's a link. So let's see. I think I have to go to general. Yes. And then I'm going to go to link settings, and I have the link color set to white. And since all of these are links, that's why it didn't change before. So now I'm going to make it pink, and now they all turn to pink. And then when I exit out of, when I go back, now at least I can see them, right? When I'm editing. So this is a widget. This is how you edit a widget. But there's another way as well to edit these widgets instead of inside of the customizer. So I'll show you that in a later video. But that's how you can also start editing the footer to reflect what you want it to look like. And now we're going to get really into the nitty-gritty a little bit, and we're going to talk about how to edit pages. So we're just going to get out of the customizer altogether. I'm going to exit out of that, and we're going to hover over pages, click there actually, and this is a list of all the pages that we have. Let's click onto the home page, which is our front page right here. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to edit this page. So just quickly, we'll scroll through here. And for the most part, it looks pretty similar to what we see on the front end. But it can get a little bit discombobulated when it shrinks down. You'll see that in just a minute. But at the top here, this is just the title of our page. It's not actually visible on the front end of our website. It doesn't say home up here. And then, so let's, first of all, I want you to get familiar with these 3 horizontal lines, this document overview. So when you click on that, you can kind of open an outline of the page and how it's structured. And this is really helpful for me when I'm trying to click onto something and maybe I'm not sure where I am, or the settings are confusing or whatever. This is kind of how the website is structured. So we have the hero section. I have labeled these things for you. Normally they would just say row layout, but I tried to label them so that it's very clear to you what you're editing. And when I click on that little arrow to expand this out, and then I click into the section, basically I have this row. And then I have a section inside, which is kind of like a column. Think of sections as column. And then I have this advanced text widget in here that says welcome to Boheme. And so right away you can see when I click onto this element, over here we have our block settings. So we have a general tab. So I could change which heading tag I want this to be. It could be an H1 or an H2 or an H3. The reason that the size is not changing is because I actually have this set to a custom font size, and you'll see that in the style tab. But I could also change my text alignment, and I can turn this into a link and set up my actual link down here as well. When I click on the style tab, this is where I can set the color. So maybe I want to change it to this peach color. You can also put a background color on it. Wow, isn't that pretty? And then this is where you can see I set a custom font size. So that's overriding, whatever my global font size was when we were setting up our global fonts. And then again, I have that option where as the screen size shrinks, I can change the settings and make the font get smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, so I'm going to undo that, and then let's set the color back to white. And we're going to leave all of our settings that we had before because it was looking good. We also have under advanced typography settings. It's not under that one. Let's see, where is it? Oh, here it is. Text shadow settings. I do have a text shadow here that you can just be aware of. So if you wanted to play with that, you feel free. Anyway, explore these block settings menus as much as you want to. When you get into the advanced, that's when you can start adjusting like the padding, which is the space between like an element and its bounding box. I'm not going to go too in depth into what padding versus margin is, but as you play around with these things, you'll start to see what they do. But yet again, you don't really have to do too much customizing here. This can really just be a matter of, hey, I want to change what this says. And then the rest of the settings are kind of done for you. So anyway, that's how you do that. I do want to show you how we have the slider in the background of this. So that's actually here on this main level section, okay, which is called a row layout, but I have it called hero section because I renamed it. This is also going to open its own block settings. So I have the layout. So I have one column, but I could make multiple columns here if I wanted to. And if I add another column, we're going to get a new section. So you saw that move happen over here. We had one section before, and when I bumped it up to 2, it added another section, and then you can kind of see as we're hovering, we got this split right here. All right, but I'm going to go back down to 1 because we don't need to change that. In the Style tab, this is where I have those image sliders set up. So I only have 2 images, but you can again increase this, and the more you increase, it's going to keep on adding more slides for you to edit, just like that. And then so you can just edit the image, and you can go into the media library and choose something else for the background if you wanted to, or you can upload your own photo. And something maybe that could be helpful for you is to just kind of pay attention to when you start adding your own photos and changing things. Just look right here and you can see the size, the dimensions of the photo that I've used, and that way you'll kind of know what size photo you should create or add for yourself. Okay, so that's how we changed those slide backgrounds, and there's some other settings. I won't go over them in depth, but if you want to make a lot of tweaks to your website, you feel free to play around with that. Again, we have the advanced tab, so this is where we can add more padding and margin, which is basically going to kind of change the way things are spaced. So let's move down here. We have this logo badge overlay. This is literally just this little image right here. So when I expand this, there's one column or a section. I can replace this image. So we also have this little toolbar that pops up. So I can replace the image right here. I can open my media library, and maybe I want to put one of these things instead. I can do that. I can drag this down to resize it so it's just right. You can also change the size over here. You can go to the Style tab. You can add a border to this image if you want. Don't recommend it, but you feel free. Just making beautiful changes here. And then, of course, I have this set. This is an example of how you can use margin, but I have this set with a negative margin, which is kind of making it overlap on top of, the image slider hero section. So, if I adjust that, you'll see how it changes. So it went further down. And if I set it to 0, it's just going to be butted right up underneath that section. So I'll put it back at 100, how it was before. And then if I want to undo something, you can see up here in the left-hand corner, I have these undo and redo buttons. So let's just undo up here a couple of times until we're back where we started from. So I like that. And let's move on to the next section. So then we have this 3-column introduction section. When we expand this, we're going to have 3 sections because each column is a section. And as I expand those out, you can see we have an image in this section. Then here we have the advanced text block. We have 2 of them actually. And then we have our buttons here. So I did want to point out to you how you can edit the buttons so that they look a different color if you wanted to make some of your buttons stand out. So I'll just click right on this button, and I have it set to inherit the theme styles, but we can go to the Style tab, and I could make the color, that's going to be the font color, be orange. I can make the background color be tan. Maybe I don't want to have a border, so I'm going to put 0 there. And then I can go to the hover tab, and maybe when I hover, I want it to invert. So we'll put the tan, and on the hover for the background, I want it to be orange. And then you can see how that affected just this button. It didn't affect this button, and it didn't affect this button. It's just this one that we're editing. So that's how you can override the global styles if you want to. You can do the same exact thing with text. So maybe I want this heading to not be the default black color. When I'm in the block settings for this advanced text block, I can press color right here, and we can make this one orange. And that way, most of all my H2s are gonna be black until I tell them in the page block setting editor to be a different color. But it didn't affect any of the other H2s, such as these 3. However, these ones are set to be white. So anyway, that's how you can start editing some of this content, maybe to, make it look more like your brand. You can start adding in your own images here. All of these are images, by the way. This is an image, this is an image, and this is an image. And I just created these in Canva. So if you need some reference, you can click in here to my media library, and you can see like, okay, here's this thing and it's this size, if you wanted to try to recreate some of this for yourself. Otherwise, feel free to use these elements that are already in here. That's what they're there for, to look good. Okay, let's quickly go over, I want to go over this section because this is a good example. So this one, we have 3 columns here, but we also have this background image, and it's like staying static, so it looks like it does that interesting scrolling thing there. So when I'm in this section and I'm on the row layout, I'm going to head over to the Style tab, and I think it's in here. Okay, it looks like it's not. It might be in actually this main top section. I thought it was inside the row layout, but it's in this. So we're going to go to the Style tab, and there you see it. There's my background color. So you can see how I could change that. And then I have the background overlay, and that's actually an image. That Boheme text back there is an image. So yet again, you can upload your own. Feel free to use mine if you want to. Feel free to take it away completely. And then in order to make this do that scrolling thing where the image is fixed, I have the background image attachment set to fixed. If it was scroll, it would be like that. Okay, so now you know kind of how that works and how it's set up. There we go. So as we scroll down the page, there's not like a ton to do here, but this just has a post widget set up for you, and that's going to show your 3 most recent posts. You can play with the settings so that you have more blog posts or less showing. You can filter it by category if you wanted to. There's some different options here. You can also play with the layout so that you can make more or less columns. Feel free to do that. We have this scrolling pattern effect, and that's similar to, what we had up here with this scrolling thing. But for this one, on the Style tab, I have this image selected, and then I've set it up so that this image repeats itself. It's a repeating pattern. And then I have it set to fixed. And so when we're on the front end, it also scrolls just like that and kind of has that cool effect. Okay, so then we have like this column right here. Again, this is an image over here with these certain little stars and hello over top of it. And you can see how things sometimes get a little bit wonky looking because they start to like scrunch down so much when you're back here and you have both of those 2 editor things opened. But to get that back, I just click on this little settings icon, and then I can collapse or expand. And there is my document overview yet again. So anyway, don't get confused if things start to look funny sometimes. Maybe you just need to kind of close those bars so you can be like, okay, yep, that's what it looks like, I see. Okay, so you kind of know, you're seeing how to edit stuff, but what happens if we want to actually add some more content to our page? Like maybe I want to add a whole new section at the bottom of this page, or maybe even somewhere else. What I can do is, as I scroll down here to the very bottom, you'll see always underneath my very last row, there's going to be this little black plus sign, and this is where I can add a block. When I click on this, it's going to open up kind of my most recently used blocks, but if I click on Browse All, it will open up the entire menu. Same thing, if I click on the blue plus sign at the top, it will open all of that up. So all of the blue blocks are Kadence blocks, and Kadence blocks, they have a lot more features that you can edit and customize about them, a lot more settings and options than these black ones, which are the standard WordPress Gutenberg blocks. However, there's no reason you cannot use Gutenberg blocks. Something that I do kind of want to point out, the way I like to structure my pages, I really try to keep things within sections. So I always recommend starting, if you're adding something to the website, I would add a row layout first, and this is going to pop up and it's going to let you select, like, okay, we just want to have one column, just this blank space here with just, no columns in it. Essentially, it's one column. Or I can have this 2 columns. I can do 2, but I can have one be heavier and one be thinner. I can do a 3 column like this. Click on it again because it didn't show up. There we go. And then I have my column, and I can, this little floating bar right here, if you wanted this to take up the full width of the screen, you would choose full width. You can also drag and drop this to make these bigger or smaller, the different column sizes. Then over here in the row settings, I can change like the column gutter. So this is how much space is in between each one of my columns. So I could make it like the larger, and you saw that gap increase right there. So there are different options. I'm not going too in depth over these, but you feel free to play with them. And then you can start clicking on these plus signs to continue adding more blocks into these. So some of the blocks that I like, that I use the most, are going to be the advanced text block. This allows me to essentially add a heading, any heading tag that I want. I can also just add paragraph. I can, style it exactly how I want it to look. I don't think that this actually went into that. It didn't. Here's the thing to do. So that when I added that text, it didn't go into this column like I was intending to do with it. So when I'm into my document overview over here, I can click on this and I can drag that into that column. So now it's actually in my column. But anyway, just start typing. There's my heading. Maybe I want to add a new block now. So we'll do another advanced text, but this time I just want it to be a paragraph. So write something. There it is. That's how you can start to add your own content. And here, let's maybe put an image. So anytime that there is, you can type in this box and search for different things. And anytime I see a blue one, that means it's a Kadence block. I always add it because that means I'm going to have a lot more options for customizing. I can select an image. Let's put these pink heels right here. So that's how I can start to build out my page, okay? Maybe I want to put a background color on this. So I'll go to click on the actual row. I'll go to the Style tab, and we'll choose the background color, and we'll make it tan, okay? And then when I'm done editing, I press Update up here. Another thing you can do is you can click on this desktop icon. You can also look at what it looks like on a tablet or a mobile, but I like to preview in a new tab before I save my changes, and then I can see, okay, that's what this is going to look like on the page, although it did not show my background color, so that kind of sucks. But I already saved this, so let's just refresh the home page, and there's my new content that I added. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this, and then that's mostly what I want to go over, but there is one final thing, and I want to point out that you have patterns available to you. So maybe you don't really feel comfortable adding your own content. Any of these sections that are on the website, I have created them. I have turned them into patterns that you can easily access, okay? So let's say I'm going to go to the front end of the website, and I'm going to go to the services page, and I'm just going to point out this section, okay? We have this like podcast section right here. So I'm going to add this to my homepage. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on the plus. I'll click Browse All, just opens everything. So right now we're in blocks, okay? I can click on Patterns, and I'm going to go to My Patterns. And then I get these nice little previews of all these different sections that are the building blocks essentially of my page. And I'm going to keep scrolling until I find that podcast one. So here it is. And I'm just going to click on that. And there, it added it to the page for me. So awesome. So feel free to use any of the existing blocks patterns. Here, you'll notice that it has this purple kind of overcast on it when I'm hovering on it. Let's open up our page overview, document overview, and see how it has like that little purple, those two little diamonds. That's because it is a block pattern. So I'm going to click on the three dots, and I'm going to detach the pattern, and that way it doesn't do that weird purple cast when I hover, but I can just click into here and I can start making changes. What would happen is if I added this as just a pattern and then I go in here and I start making changes, which is possible for me to do, but then I press update, that means that it's going to update this particular pattern everywhere that it is on the website. So like, you know, if I made a change here and then press save while I still have it as the pattern, then it's going to change my service page as well. But when I click here and I detach the pattern, now I can edit this one independently of the podcast box that appears on my services page. So I know it's kind of a lot to take in, but these are the building blocks of, you know, how this website is set up. And this is just really intended to help you understand how Kadence works, how blocks work, and how you can really customize and edit your website to be anything that you want it to be, including removing or adding content to the site. So now I'm done, and maybe I've decided, you know, I really don't want this here. I can click on the three dots and I can just click delete. And now I don't have that anymore. And I'll go ahead and update my homepage, and we'll just refresh that and make sure that this stuff down here went away. I'm going to click up here because this was a preview. Okay, so now it's back to how I had it before. Awesome. So next thing we'll talk about is how to edit posts, and we'll talk about the sidebar as well and get a little bit more into widgets. But really, you've seen the bulk of how you start to edit things. The other things we're going to touch on are kind of a little bit more of the same. It's just, you know, a post is different from a page, so I want to make sure you understand the difference there. Okay, so we finished talking about how to edit our pages, and there's a couple more things that we need to go over. A feature about the About page, how this whole section is set up. So this is a cute little feature that I really like to include on sites because I think it's just super fun looking. You know, you could of course just write whatever you want your circled item to be, but maybe you just want to have two circles. So I'm going to click on this particular little H6, this little text right here. And when I'm on this one, you can see I have it selected over here in my document overview. So when I am in my block settings, I can go to advanced. And the way to add this is click under advanced right here. And then under additional CSS classes, we are going to type in circle. You got to spell it exactly right. Circle choice, circle dash choice. Okay. And that just put that circle on there for you. If I want to take the circle off of it, I just delete it out of there. So like T, if I go click on that text, go to the advanced tab and scroll down here, you can see that I have circle dash choice right here. But if I want to remove it, just take it away, and let's put it on copy instead. So we'll go to the advanced tab, scroll down, circle dash choice. So that is just a custom CSS class that is set up for you anytime you want to circle something with that cute little hand-drawn circle. So let's talk again about widgets, which is something we touched on earlier when we were editing our footer. But this time I want to talk particularly about a widget area that's called Sidebar. And the sidebar is something that you see on the blog. So hopping over to the front end of our website, when I'm on just the blog page, these are my posts over here, and this is Sidebar 1. So let's talk about how to edit Sidebar 1. So in the back end of our website, we are going to hover over Appearance, and we're going to go to Widgets. And at the very top here, you see Sidebar 1 right there. I also have this document overview option up here. And so I have Sidebar 1, 2, then I have Footer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So those are my footer widgets. So like when I click into some of these, this one has that badge in the very center of it. That widget is this one right here. You can't see it because the picture is white. And then Footer 3 also has content in it. But here's another place that I can edit my widgets, okay? And this is where I prefer to edit Sidebar 1. So as I expand Sidebar 1, I have a section in here, and you know, it's just like when I'm adding elements, adding blocks to my page. I have an image block here. Underneath that, we have a text block that is set to H6. Then we have some text right here. And as I'm clicking, of course, if I want to start changing this and editing this information, I can do that. When I click on the picture, I can click replace up here, or I can click, edit image over here, and I can choose a different image from my media library or upload my own. And then, so that's how that's set up. Right here, I have social links. These are a little bit different than the ones that we looked at earlier that were in our header. This is actually not a cadence block that I'm using here. There isn't one, except it's only available for the header and footer. So if you want to add social icons to your pages or your posts or your widget areas like this, you need to use this cadence block. And that's why it's black, remember, versus blue. And then when I add my different icons, I need to click on that icon and actually add my link here. So these ones are not controlled in my global settings like we saw earlier. I have to set these ones up individually and go ahead and add all my links. Same thing with like this little shop my favorites. This is actually the way this is set up. This is a gallery. It's an advanced gallery, which is one of the cadence blocks. And over here in the general, as we scroll down, you can see link settings, and I have selected link to, and I've chosen custom. And so when I click on this picture, I can add a link right here. You know, you can just edit this and you can add different images to this gallery. And then you can go ahead and add like your affiliate link right here. And then I would always make sure you open it in a new tab. You can also turn on that little sponsored tab right there. That can be helpful for certain people as well. But anyway, see that plus sign? Here's where I can go ahead and, you know, start adding more blocks to this widget if I wanted to. So if I wanted to add like a countdown inside of my Sidebar 1, I can do that. I'm going to go ahead and press save, and then I'm going to refresh it on my website. And there's my countdown timer right there. So that is where you go to edit the content inside of Sidebar 1. Okay guys, we're very close to being done with talking about the ways to customize and edit your website, but the last thing that I definitely want to go over is posts. This isn't going to be too much new information for you. It's just I want you to understand the difference between a page and a post. So these are, when I'm on the front end of my website and I click on blog, these are my posts right here. These work the same way that a page works. So anything that I added to, you know, a page that I was designing, I can put that inside of a post. So, you know, I just have the text right here, and then I have some headings and lists, and I have this little shop the post widget, which is also a reusable block that you have. So anytime you're adding a post and you want to add some like affiliate links into it, just click into your blocks up here and then go to my patterns, and you know, you just click until you find the one that you're looking for, which is that one right there. And then just remember, when we get it on the page, it looks funky because it's still a pattern. Just remember to detach the pattern. Okay, I think we're done covering how to customize and edit. the Boheme theme. I hope that you enjoy the theme and get a lot out of it. And if you do have any questions, feel free to shout out. You can comment on this YouTube video. You can holler at me on Instagram. You can send me a message through my website. You can send me a message on Etsy as well. And I think I have said plenty, so good luck with your website theme, and thank you again for your purchase. Bye.